All right, just sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, August the 16th, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Greetings.
Peace and love to you all.
And salutations. Right?
Peace, love, and
understanding. Oh. Anyway. All right, now that we've lost anybody that was watching. How are you two fine gents on this evening?
Great.
How much better would you be, Harry, if I don't know, somebody, a certain GM, not to be named, was no longer GM? How would you be better?
Well, look, I mean, I think it's obvious, but the Yankees ownership is not the Yankees ownership of the past, and I think everybody has their moment. I'm not going to say that Cashman in the past has not done what is expected of him. I think he has. Mm-hmm. But whether it's the front office or him or their inability to lure the players that they need to lure, I think that their vaunted farm system that they're holding on to, like, virginity, is just not, they're not producing.
Right.
They've been given shots. How long do we have to wait? Is this going to be another, Gary Sanchez scenario? Well, so I think baseball is about having a system that allows you to have a core of good players and then have the ability to go out and get a plethora of really good players that are young and unknown, mixed with a few veterans that you go out and aggressively get. The Yankees don't do any of that. The teams that do, the Astros, the Dodgers, the Braves, where do they sit? So I just think Cashman's time is over. Boone, I'm on the fence about. How much does a manager even matter anymore?
The manager just makes some in-game moves, but a lot of them aren't even coming from him either. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think Boone is a top 10 manager, but I don't think he's a bottom 10 manager either. I just think that it's a sad season, and they need to make some big moves. And when you think that re-signing Aaron Judge was a huge thing, was great, but then your biggest accomplishment is re-signing Anthony Rizzo, and then by the way, letting him play with a concussion for fucking 3 months. I don't know. Look, I think Matt Olson's having a pretty good year, isn't he?
Just a little bit, yeah, just a bit.
So these are the guys that would have been on the Yankees.
I think Matt Olson has now 42 or 43 or 44 home runs, and 39 of them are against the Mets. But that's beside.
Freddie Freeman is he still he's still around, right? Yeah,
he is.
Yeah. So my point to all of this is that I just don't think that they are. I think that they're delusional in what they have. We all knew this, and then a plethora of injuries in their defense. Their superstar that they're paying shit ton of money to, again, is hurt and out, and their lineup goes to shit without him.
Yeah, maybe go back in time. Don't catch that one ball.
Yeah,
don't.
Well,
great catch.
There's gonna be a lot more of this. This is just the future. Mm-hmm. So with Judge, it's sort of like, all right, teach him how to catch. Put him at first base, make him a DH, don't have him in the outfield all the time. But they don't have that luxury,
right?
Because he's arguably one of their top two outfielders.
Right.
And they also have another guy who they've paid a shit ton of money to, who can't even run around the bases, let alone catch a ball in left field anymore.
Right.
And he's really wonderful at hitting seventh inning home runs when they're either up or down by 9 runs. But does not really come through in the clutch, and is just atrocious.
Well, at least the Yankees don't have a double-A center fielder last night, rather, anyway.
Right.
That just misses routine pop-ups.
I
There's that.
It was a couple of weeks ago. I think I texted you guys going, Stanton reminds me of Dave Kingman. Then I looked up Dave Kingman's stats and go, oh no, Dave Kingman was way better than Giancarlo Stanton at this point in his career.
Right.
So it's but I mean, enough on the Yankees.
Well,
what makes me feel good about the Yankees is our friends across town.
Well, what makes me feel good about the Mets and the Yankees is that it's August 16th. So
it's almost over.
It's almost over.
And listen, you can say this about the Yankees. They're obviously, I don't want to say it's not their fault as far as the management of the team goes, because it is absolutely their fault. But you got two guys who maybe, the Steinbrenner boys, who really don't know what the hell they're doing, right? They watch their dad do things in a completely different way, which cannot be done anymore. So they never learned how to.
I think Steve Cohen has figured it out.
They never learned how to do it the right way. And you got Cashman who came up through that, and he's just not able to adapt. So, clean house with the GM, and hopefully the boys will spend a little bit of money, and the Yankees can be right back on track.
Yeah, I think they do need a new GM. I think they need, like I said, I think they need to have somebody who can really start to do that juggling act of getting a couple big name stars and then really piecing together a deep rotation, which the Yankees pitching is not really, other than Luis Severino. Right. Garrett Cole's, the irony in all this is Cole is probably having his best year as a Yankee. So how many more years do you have of that before your ace is, it's just a lot of the look, I was all for Carlos Rodon, but obviously he's hurt and he's been horrible. I saw him pitch in person and he couldn't even win against the Rockies. It seems like they can't get a break. No. And there's some positives. Maybe the Gleyber Torres debacle is salvageable. He seems to put the ball in the glove more than he doesn't anymore, and he's second or third on the Yankees in hitting, right, and has maybe been their best hitter since Judge has been out. Volpe, who I'm not sold on yet, has moments of okayness. I think that there's obviously injuries at catcher has just, all of a sudden you have an all-star catcher who's now gone for the season, and the rest of the catchers combined just can't hit the ball. It's been a comedy of errors, yet they're still at 500. And up until 2 weeks ago, they were still within striking distance of the playoffs, and they've just drifted. Right. And that's okay.
And you haven't you didn't have Rodon for how long?
Right. You didn't have Rodon. We never had a full staff, right? We didn't have Rodon. We didn't have Herman. We didn't have somebody was
now
somebody was on a plane to the Sudan.
Now Herman is gone again, right after throwing a perfect game.
Right.
You were counting Severino on Cortez probably to be good, and of course Severino is give up on Severino. He's gone. He's never coming back.
And you think Schmidt comes around, but then the bullpen, Michael King and everybody there, Wadi Peralta, the wheels start to fall off things. So
I mean, you could say about the Yankees. Obviously, you're not happy where they are, but all things considered, you're right. They're at 500, and the rest of the division is better, including the freaking Orioles, who didn't I pick them to win the division? I think.
I don't know if you picked them to win, but I think you picked them to make a wild card.
Maybe to make a wild card, but
I got to look back. I'll check that out.
But
all things considered, you could say, listen, the Yankees, it could be a lot worse considering.
But imagine if everyone in the division finishes above 500, which still could happen.
Yeah.
So it's Tampa was red hot in the beginning. They've tailored off again due to injuries to some degree. And Toronto and Boston kind of go like this. One's hot, one's cold, and you don't know who's the real team there. I don't really want to play either of those if I'm a higher ranked team. If both of those or one of them make the wild card. So it's probably best the Yankees don't make the playoffs. I just think that I think they have to be more willing to let go of some of these so-called wonderful if people want them and you can get something for them, go for it, because I just don't see it. I don't see Oswaldo Pereira or I don't understand why they can't even field the ball. It's just I don't get it.
All right, I got it here.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Pete, you picked the
Blue Jays.
You picked the Blue Jays to win the division, and your 3 wild cards for the American League are the Yankees, Mariners, and Orioles. So
I was wrong.
So, well, you know
well,
what?
It's not over yet. They could still end up in the wild card spot, but
right. Well, yeah, you can. I mean, you could be right on
other than the Yankees. You're right.
Of those 4 teams, you could be right on 3 of them. Yeah, what Harry just said. So, yeah,
stumble into a pile of nuts.
Exactly,
blind squirrel. But what I was going to say about the Yankees is, what was I going to say about the Yankees? I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure it was.
Doesn't matter.
I was going to say it's right. Like, look at it this way. All right, this year. All right, this time last year, both the Yankees and the Mets were in first place in the AL East and the NL East, respectively. Right?
They were both in first place in the AL East.
They were both in first place in the AL East and the NL East, respectively.
Yeah.
That's that. All right. Right now, the Yankees are in last place, and up until a day ago, the Mets were in last place. Mets are back in fourth place now because they won today, and Washington lost. But
here's my take, and I'll let you guys roll with it because you know way more about the Mets than I do. Here's my take on the difference between the Yankees and the Mets. The Yankees are.
We know a lot more about the Mets than they do. That's what
well, yeah, whoever the Mets are now. The Yankees are in this position where they're constantly sort of holding on to this hope that all of these little things are magically going to get great. And they've been that way for a while. And the Mets, to my surprise, I'll be honest, I was a little shocked, just said, fuck it, tear it all down. And they were actually moving up. Because I remember they were within like 4 games or something. They had started to play decent
they were close.
ball.
They got to within 4 games of the wild card. Yeah.
They got to within 4 games of the wild card from 9 in about 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then they were just like, fuck it. Mm-hmm. Garage sale, fire sale, everybody.
I agree with everything they did except for Verlander. I would have held on to Verlander. I mean, I know they got the 2. I got the number 1 and the number 4 prospects from Houston for Verlander, but the number 1 and the number 4 Houston prospects aren't even in the top 100 MLB prospects. So
let me ask. I'm going to ask you guys this question: how much of a problem was Verlander for the Mets?
Well, now the stories are coming out. Here's the thing: whiny diva and blah blah blah. Yeah, you got to figure at least a certain percentage of that is sour grapes, but based in some truth probably as well. So, but I mean, I seem to remember hearing vague rumors about that, even during some of his best years, like with the Astros.
Who cares?
Who cares? Here's the thing, all right? Somebody in the Mets organization said he was a whiny diva. Now, what it came out, what he was whining about was the use of the analytics, which we all know suck, right?
And he's right.
He's right. He's right. Now it came from the report was a player, right? And it wasn't. It was somebody in the front office, but obviously somebody that believes in the analytics and sour grapes, right? But his comment was he made a statement the other day. It's like, I want to say that I have nothing but respect for the Mets organization, and I've enjoyed connecting with all of my teammates this season, new and old. It was truly a wonderful group of people. That being said, we all know the success of a team is made up of more than just players on the field. Everyone's input is valuable. I'm sorry to hear that a staff member took offense to constructive criticism on how we could improve. Wishing nothing but the best for the Mets moving forward. So it's you know what? Hey, shove your fucking analytics up your fucking ass and play fucking baseball. That's what they need to do.
I'm going to listen more to a multi-time Cy Young winner who seems to be in the World Series every year and goes home to Kate Upton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And listen, the last part. But if nothing else, we could say Justin Verlander has an excellent publicist.
Yes.
That's a heck of a statement.
Yeah,
it was a great statement.
Pretty well done.
Very well done.
A little better than Sammy Sosa.
I remember what I was going to say before about prospects. And this goes for the Mets too, maybe more so than the Yankees. Like, I know these kids are young, but after a certain point, like, they're either going to develop and be ready to play or they're not.
Right.
And if they're just not, just cut the ties.
Cut them.
And
Get them.
maybe they'll go somewhere else
Right.
and it'll click or whatever.
Right.
And the Mets are much more, I think, guilty of this than the
Well,
Yankees, although the Yankees have been doing it more in recent years.
Yeah.
They just hang on to these guys and hang on and hang on.
Oh, they hang on.
And,
it's like a bad marriage. They just keep riding it out.
So,
Right.
Let's have a time frame and then say, okay, at this point, we are going to really make a hard assessment. Do we really believe this guy is going to come around, or are we just hoping? And if it's just hope, cut him loose.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this question: what did the Mets accomplish with all this? With this?
Well, with all the moves they did.
Yeah, with the demolition job that they did.
They accomplished getting rid of basically half of their salary. Okay. Yeah, they got some dead money dead money. It's not even. I mean, there's no cap, right? But they get some dead money next year, but it doesn't really count towards the luxury tax. So they got rid of maybe even a little bit more than half of their salary. And I have some thoughts on that too. I'll share.
Yeah, sure. Who are they going to go after? It sounds like Ohtani's going to stay in Los Angeles.
I'm getting there with a couple of things. First thing I wanted to say, just really quick, I have this graphic I want to put up. This to me is the epitome of the Mets season, right here. There you go, done.
Yeah, okay. I watched that game
Saturday, the first game. 21-3 Braves over the Mets. Okay.
I think when Chris Farley hit a home run, I think I texted you saying that this was going to be a comeback.
Oh, yeah. Chris Farley, right. Yeah.
The thing that really bothers me about that is the hits to runs ratio.
Yeah, let's go back to
21 runs on 6 hits.
21 for 22 versus 3 for 6. That should be 21 for like 40.
Yeah.
Right.
Realistically.
Yeah, exactly. It's
maybe
disgusting.
37.
At some point, though, you still have to look at it and go, they got 22 fucking hits. I don't think the Yankees have gotten 22 hits in August.
Right. The Mets haven't, but anyway, so yeah, so here they cut Robertson, right? They cut him first. His contract's up this year. If you really want Robertson
you go back
to set up Diaz next year, go get him after the season. Same thing with Kana. You know what? And a few of the other players, whatever, is what it is. And Scherzer, here's the deal. So far, he's pitching great in Texas. All right, we've seen that. He has whatchamacallit? What was it? I got it right here.
Like a 1.85 ERA.
Just shouldn't pitch until August.
Right.
He should just.
Well, no. He pitched great for the Mets until August last year. That's the problem. But after the other night's start, Max Scherzer has 15 strikeouts and a 2.77 ERA in 2 starts for the Rangers. He's the second pitcher in Rangers history with 15 strikeouts and an ERA below 3 in their first 2 appearances with the team. You know who the other one was?
Nolan Ryan.
The 42-year-old Nolan Ryan in 89. Yep.
Yeah, Scherzer's 3-0. His strikeout to walks ratio is 25-6, and his ERA is $1.85 with Texas.
So just so you're aware, Harry, going forward in the schedule, Scherzer is due to pitch on Monday, the 28th, at Citi Field against the Mets.
Okay.
So Pete and I are going to be in attendance for the no-hitter.
Perfect game. That's awesome.
Now let me ask you guys about this, because Scherzer said a week ago or so about people in the organization telling him, the Mets are not planning on being competitive next year. They're going to look towards 2025 and the rebuilding and all that. Here's my question. Did they tell Max Scherzer this in order to get him to waive his no trade clause?
Yes.
So that
friggin'
I think Scherzer is mature enough to understand that. I don't think Scherzer or Verlander really wanted to go. I think they probably both wanted to win in New York.
They did. They both did. They did. And Scherzer would have stayed more so than Verlander would have stayed.
I mean,
they had to convince.
This goes back to my earlier comment about how the Houston Astros, the people who are running the Astros, are absolutely fucking magicians, because they didn't want to pay Verlander what he wanted. Verlander got the big money from the Mets. The Mets wanted getting rid of Verlander. The Astros re-sign him, and the Mets are paying 75% of his contract. Fucking brilliant.
And Scherzer is next year. Scherzer will get paid from 3 teams. He'll get paid from the Mets, the Rangers, and the Nationals.
Right. Yeah.
But so here's the thing. Pete, you hit it on the nail. You hit the nail on the head there. They absolutely told Scherzer that. Now, one quick thing about Scherzer, and everybody's like, well, he's pitching great now. Yeah, but he wasn't pitching that way for the Mets. Whatever the reason was, he wasn't pitching that way for the Mets. So, yeah, you keep him. He's going to pitch like shit. So he's pitching great. Good, happy, good for him. But here's the thing. They absolutely said that to Scherzer so that he would waive his no trade clause.
Of course.
Here are the notable potential free agents after this season. Ready? Position-wise, you got shortstop Tim Anderson. The Mets don't need a shortstop, but you got Josh Bell. You got Cody Bellinger, center fielder. You got Matt Chapman, third baseman. That probably is a smart move if they go get Matt Chapman. All right. Michael Conforto. Michael Conforto has resurrected his career. Go get him. Bring him home. Right. Teoscar Hernandez from Seattle, right field. But here's a couple of bats. JD Martinez, Jock Peterson, Justin Turner. Right? DHs, right? Go bring Justin Turner home to finish his career.
73.
Right, exactly. He was drafted by the Mets. He started with the Mets.
I know.
They got rid of him because he wanted to play third base, and there was another guy in front of him at the time in New York. But pitchers, these are the potential free agent pitchers next year. Lucas Giolito, Sonny Gray, Josh Hader, Clayton Kershaw, Jordan Montgomery, Aaron Nola, Shohei Ohtani, which obviously if he doesn't stay in Los Angeles with the Angels, they're going to make a push for him. If they make a push for him, the only reason Shohei Ohtani doesn't become a Met is if Shohei Ohtani doesn't want to be a Met, because Steve Cohen, if he makes a push for him, is not going to be outbid. He'll get him, right? Blake Snell, Marcus Stroman, fuck him, but Eduardo Rodriguez and Julio Urias.
Urias isn't going anywhere, no. and neither is Kershaw. And if you want
I don't want Kershaw anyway, but
it's Sonny Gray.
No Sonny Gray either.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of names on that list that are exciting.
On this list, other than Shohei Ohtani, I take Aaron Nola or Blake Snell.
So other than Ohtani, your list sucks.
Those are the two. Nola and Snell are.
Nola and Snell be the two, and you know what? The Phillies stuck it to the Mets by signing Wheeler.
That's right.
Yeah, right. The Phillies stuck it to the Mets by signing Wheeler. Stick it to the Phillies by signing Nolan. But
and by the way, congratulations to.
They absolutely did that. They absolutely made Scherzer aware of they're not going to be competitive till 25 or 26. Why? Because it takes Scherzer beyond where he's contracted for.
Was this a lack of patience by the Mets, or was this them saying this? Go out and spend money for these veterans didn't work. So now we're going to go take the slightly longer route of trying to build up our roster the old-fashioned way. Is this what I think? Right.
I think that it's twofold, right? I think by getting rid of these players, they were able to bolster up big time. Look, the Scherzer trade is a no-brainer, right? He wasn't pitching well for the Mets, and they got back Luis Aniel Acuña. Acuña's Ronald Acuña's brother. So that's
little Acuña.
Little Acuña. They got back little Acuña.
Half of Acuña is better than most.
Half of Acuña is better than most, right? Okay, so look, they bolstered up their minors. They bolstered up their farm system, and they cut.
You got to be careful money. the way you say that.
They bolstered up their minors. They bolstered up their minor leagues. There you go. And they and the farm system, and they got rid of half of their salary for next year. All right, they get rid of half their salary. So now, I know, you don't want to do that. So anyway, now they have more people in the minor leagues that they can bring up, and they have more money that they can bring up the big salary again next year to get maybe better people that'll work.
But I think next year's a leap year for them. I don't think they're going to go full force for any of this stuff. I mean, obviously,
I think it depends on what free agents can fall into their lap.
It depends on Ohtani. I think. Look, I didn't think this was going to be the case. I think Ohtani's going to stay in California.
We'll see.
I mean, with the Angels.
Yeah, well, he could stay in California with the Padres, the Dodgers. Well, he's not staying there with the A's. We know that. So
out of all the teams, I would love to see him as a Yankee. I would even love to see him as a Met. But the only other uniform I could probably see him in and actually probably makes sense.
Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers, yeah. I said last show I didn't think
doesn't have to sell his house.
The Yankees and Mets sort of stopped really being destinations.
Yeah.
Because of the way they're being run
right now. Yeah.
Right.
And listen, as far as the Mets go, Yeah, listen, they can still be competitive, even if they're not necessarily in the real hunt to win the division. That's what you want to see.
This isn't the NBA. You're not trying to get into the lottery.
No, they're not tanking for whatever. But
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, and what I was going to say before is congratulations to everyone who did not go get Marcus Stroman.
Yeah,
because now he's hurt, and
right.
so I think he's no timetable for his return.
Yeah.
So a bunch of teams dodged a bullet there. I know his name came up.
I think next year the Yankees and the Mets are in the same scenario. It's really going to be. They're going to have to make some tough decisions on existing personnel, and I think they're going to have to. It's a numbers game. I think they're going to have to make a bunch of mid to upper mid level moves in order to get their teams back to where they need to be. Now, I think the Mets are in a better position. I think the Mets have better core players than the Yankees numbers wise. Mm-hmm. I don't really know if there's anybody on the Mets that exactly matches up to Judge. Pete is great, but he's not really his average really hurts him, and
his power hitter.
But I think overall there's a greater potential for some of those Mets players that have bounced back years. They have much better hitters, and I think they're better defensively than the Yankees, and so it tells me that they could become competitive.
Yeah,
I think the Mets have to go after pitching because they've depleted what was arguably on paper one of the top 3 or 4 rotations in baseball to now not really having much of anything on the pitching side.
Well, look at it this way. Not only do they need to go after starting pitching, that's obvious, that's a given, but they also need to replace just about everybody in their double A bullpen that they have right now.
Yeah, their bullpen has sucked and it did not get any better.
No.
Their one saving grace that they had, they got rid of.
And you got to hope that Diaz is going to be,
the game this afternoon, they were winning. They were winning 8-3 this afternoon against the Pirates at home. And top of the 9th, they brought Ottavino in, and 5-run lead in the game, and I was still worried that Ottavino was going to blow. It wasn't even a save.
Ottavino can be great at times. That's what's weird about Adam Ottavino. I mean, even out here, and when he was pitching for the Rockies, he was a pretty good relief pitcher.
Yeah. Well,
but they're all like that now. They're all
the Mets need more than one.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I was at the game.
Shut down middle relievers are there anymore?
None. I was at the Mets Cubs game last Wednesday night, and the Mets were up 4-2, I believe it was, if memory serves, going into the 9th, top of the 9th, and they brought in Ottavino, and he promptly gives up a home run to go up 4-3. So they won the game. But on that note, there was a couple of interesting facts that I saw flash up on this new huge friggin' jumbotron that they have. Holy crap, this thing's big.
Are we talking somewhere at the Safeway down the street, or are you talking at the Mets game?
No, at the Mets game.
In John's garage.
And that too, but
he doesn't have a garage.
Yeah. So Pete Alonso entered the game last Wednesday night with a home run in every 6.57 career at-bats versus the Cubs. Only Mark McGwire has a higher rate among all players with 75 at-bats or more against the Cubs since 1901. Now, obviously, it's a small sample size because it's obviously just against the Cubs, but I thought that was an interesting fact. But here's the better one. Pete Alonso is the first Mets player in history to have 4 seasons of 35-plus home runs.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Dave Kingman, Darryl Strawberry, Howard Johnson, and Mike Piazza all had 3 seasons of 35-plus home runs for the Mets. Pete Alonso is the first one to do it 4 seasons or more.
He hits a lot of home runs. This year he's hitting a lot of home runs with nobody on base. He has 35 home runs and like 43 RBIs.
Right. Yeah. But
one other thing, Harry, to your point about bringing in the veteran pitcher strategy and then just giving that up and go, okay. I think the reason they were willing to do that or felt like maybe they had to do that is because, as you said, they do have a decent core of younger guys like Alonso and Lindor, who's still signed for how many? Another 6 or 7 years?
Another 9 years.
Yeah. And Nimmo.
McNeil.
Right. So, I think they just kind of went, okay, this route really isn't working. And if we're going to commit to bolstering and trying to go that route this year and get into the playoffs, well, then we're going to be kind of stuck doing it again next year with two guys that are
and then
another year older. And all that. So I think they went,
anyway.
yeah, let's cut bait right now, bring in younger players, and then we'll see how we can fix our pitching.
I don't know. Top-notch pitching is so hard to get, and that's why I don't necessarily agree with what they did. I think the future for the Mets is really unknown now.
Let me ask you this.
I think it is. I would have kept Verlander.
I would have kept Verlander.
But I think they were at a tipping point where they were like, we're either going to commit to this.
But he was only under contract for one more year.
Right.
So if next year is a rebuilding year, you don't want to rebuild with Verlander. So yeah.
Right. Right. So they were either going to commit to this methodology for the at least short term.
We shall see.
Over the next 2 or 3 years.
Clearly not saying
or they were going to cut bait and
clearly not saying this will happen. But what would you think of this pitching staff next year for the Mets? Ohtani, Snell.
I don't like him.
Ohtani, Snell, Nola, Senga, and Yamamoto from Japan.
Yeah, it sounds like a all-star sushi chefs.
You know what? One of
Senga, Ohtani, Yamamoto.
About the Yankees
having Japanese law office.
The Japanese law office, right?
A lot of things come together all at once. That's really the story of the Mets over several of the last several years. Where if this goes right, if this player rebounds, if this guy has a good season, then we'll be okay. And those 4 or 5 things, they never all happen. Mm-hmm. You're lucky if you get 2. Right. So that pitching staff, to me, it sounds kind of like that.
I don't. Other than Ohtani, I don't think there's any sure shot free agents next year.
I agree.
The Mets went after the most obvious free agents. Much like the Yankees did with Cole, the Mets did with Lindor, the Mets did with Verlander and Scherzer and etc. I don't think there's as much of that. So it's going to take a little bit more of actually building a team as opposed to just going out and hiring some guns for a year.
Agreed.
So it'll be interesting. Anyway, enough on the sad state of New York baseball.
I just want to say one odd thing, and I think you'll both appreciate it. Jersey Johnny jerseys, right? Every year I go out and I buy a. Did I talk about this, Pete, 2 weeks ago?
I think so.
I'm not sure if I did. You weren't there. Anyway, I'll say really quick, just in case. I apologize to anybody listening that I did say it. Then I don't think I did that. But which I buy one jersey of a current player. One jersey of a current player. 3 years ago in 2020, it was Pete Alonso. All right, that was good. The year after, in 2021, I bought Lindor. All right, that's fine. Last year, I bought Scherzer. Guess who I bought this year? Verlander, of course. So I went out and made myself feel. Fault. So it's my fault. So I went out and made myself feel better about this, right there. So,
who's 41? Bartolo Colon.
41's Bartolo Colon. Now, yeah, Tom Seaver.
I know. So you're hoping that it has the reverse effect that Tom Seaver comes back
and pitches. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And on Bartolo Colon's note, really quick.
He's going to retire.
He's going to retire a Met.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. So he's going to retire Met on
Sunday,
September 17th.
I still think he could give you 3 good innings every week.
I think he could. I think it would be smart of Steve Cohen to actually, instead of signing him to a 1-day contract, sign him to the rest of the season, let him play, and then retire on the 17th.
And then what I would do is I wouldn't play him, but I'd pinch run him. In the 8th inning.
Steal second. Make him the ghost runner.
He probably doesn't have a stolen base in his career, so
sure, you got to get one of those. So anyway, all right. Guys, either of you, anything else on baseball? We good? Okay. Moving on. Let's really quick. Let's talk about some football really quick for a second.
Oh, there's football going on.
Little football. Not much other than that.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess we don't have to.
Whoa.
No, I was just gonna say the Foot and Mouth Award, I guess, over the last couple of weeks goes to the Orioles.
Oh yes,
and the whole Kevin Brown saga, which
ridiculous.
Listen, we don't need to rehash that because it's already happened.
We posted a video on it, so you can go to the.
He's back. What sort of got lost in all the talk was that they suspended him for 2 weeks and he was off the air for 2 weeks, except for the few baseball games that they desperately needed him to do right at the beginning. And so he missed 2 weeks, and now he's back, and he, made the appropriate statements. The bigger issue with this is it seems like this sort of thing, not the suspension, but this, you cannot say anything bad about the teams.
Or not even anything bad, just obvious.
Anything bad, he read stats.
No, but again, you can't.
It wasn't casting dispersions or anything.
Let me change the word bad to negative. And that's going to be perceived
anything that can be perceived as critical of the organization.
Yeah, and like you just, because we talk about homers in broadcasting and and I like a little bit of a homer. I want the guy who's working for the team to love the team, whatever.
Right.
But if you're getting it to a point where the staff is giving you this information and they're putting a graphic up, and if you say it out loud, now again, it's partially because it seems like the Angelos family tree is full of crazy, and whatever the son's name is, John, that apple didn't fall far from his crazy dad's
Michael.
Yeah. Peter Angelos, nut house that he is. But to me, this is kind of disconcerting because, look, Kevin Brown, Kevin Brown, it's easy for me to say, I don't know, man, I'd probably quit if they did that. Again, easy for me to say, but he came back on and he made nice, and I have a great relationship with the team and the owners and blah, blah, blah. But you've got more and more people, it seems, that are not really willing to be objective. And, it's distressing because one of the most important insights, I think, or some of the most important insights about these games come from the home announcers, because sometimes, the other team's announcers, they're not really that interested in talking about the Orioles' record against the Jays and how it's better this year than it's been combined in the past 2 years. That's not something that, the Jays announcers are going to bring up. So if we get to a point where nobody's afraid to say anything even remotely critical, we're going to be missing out on a lot of interesting information, if nothing else. Mm-hmm. And again, it speaks to just this sort of, Pollyanna approach to broadcasting.
Agreed.
And it's going to be, then it's going to be hard for, you may have great broadcasters who never get the job because, number one, they're too afraid to be themselves and say something critical.
Right.
And, or number two, they may get the job, but they never become really great broadcasters because they play the game and don't say anything critical. And exactly. I think we need these guys to be objective and to hold teams to account.
I agree with you. I don't think Harry agreed with you though.
I guess not.
I know where he went. Will he be back soon?
Yeah, he'll be back soon.
At some point.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Look, I'm glad he's back, and everybody seems to love him and think he's a great broadcaster. I have no issues with him personally or anything. It was distressing to see. But again, you have to take the crazy factor of the Angelos family into account as far as the story goes.
Yeah, I agree. It was just stupid. But yeah, it's when you say it like that, yeah, it's completely believable that it actually happened like that. So what are you gonna do?
And it's funny because apparently there were other people within the organization who were disciplined or spoken to or whatever because they didn't have, the official Orioles logo gear on and stuff. And
right.
So apparently it's a big thing with that organization. And then I turn on the Mets game and I see Gary and Ron and Keith all with their, SNY Mets shirts all lined up like they're taking a grade school picture. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, there it is.
But Gary Cohen was, we put the video up on Facebook and Instagram. Gary Cohen was screaming.
He was super critical. Yeah.
Super critical of the Orioles for doing that. So,
but it also, but it didn't, like the Orioles didn't back down.
No.
Again, it sort of got lost in the shuffle, but they very quietly kept them off the air for 2 weeks, which is, what was that was the report. It was what's going to happen. So,
gotcha.
Did you guys finish football?
Yeah, we're all done. You left, came back, and now Pete's flickering for some reason over there.
Yeah, I got bumped out. I don't know.
No, that's weird.
That's weird. So anyway, all right, football. Just a few things. As far as the overall state of the NFL, I'm looking forward to the NFL season for a couple of reasons. One, because I love football. Two, because it's getting to that point, and there's a lot of things about the Giants that are, I'm cautiously optimistic about, but want to see it get going. I think the Jets are gonna, knock on wood for them. We'll talk about that, but yeah, I mean, the overall the NFL. I mean, it's a lot of good, football to be played, and I'm looking forward to it. But let's kick it off really quick. We're gonna have by saying 2 weeks from tonight is our NFL kickoff episode. It's all NFL. We got guests coming on. It's going to be
Aaron Rodgers is going to be
Aaron Rodgers is going to be on.
Not that Aaron Rodgers.
No, just another Aaron Rodgers. We know he's coming on, but
he makes IPA with his feet in South Jersey.
Exactly. He's a foot brewer. Anyway, a Native American group called Native American Guardians Association, the NAGA, is demanding the return of the Redskins name. Okay. This organization,
the return of the Redskins
name. The group is organizing a petition that has already gained more than 90,000 signatures. And that was an article published in the New York Post earlier today.
By 90,000 indigenous people?
By 90,000 indigenous people, yes.
Wow, that's fantastic. I thought it was just going to be all Trump supporters.
No.
Do we know that do we know for sure they're all?
This is the people. This is the report, right? This is the report. I didn't look at the petition and do background checks on them. I'm just reading what was posted in the Post.
I'm just gonna, on general principle, doubt the validity of 90. In other words, I don't think they tried to get 90,000 indigenous people's signatures.
Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't.
They just got a lot of people,
but apparently, this has been a topic of discussion from the new ownership group, and led by Magic Johnson, actually.
Magic Johnson wants the Redskins name.
Yeah, I mean that's the reports that we're hearing, but
I'd be curious to hear from this group of people about their take on it, because I can't quite understand it. And I could make some crude jokes about some other names that it would be equivalent to, but I won't. But it sort of seems like this is. I sort of get maybe where they're coming from. I sort of get where it seems pretty wrong, but it'd be interesting to hear what they have to say.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It would definitely be interesting to see what they have to say. I
mean, I would sign a petition to bring Darryl Green back.
Is it just a case of history?
It's history. They were apparently, as the story goes, this Native American group was very, very in attendance. They were big fans. They want the history of that. They showed up at games wearing Redskins garb. They enjoyed it. They embraced it. They wanted that, and it got taken away from them. They don't look at it according to reports. This isn't my take. According to reports, they don't look at the name that it was a slur on them. They embraced it as it was part of them. The ones that like football anyway, right? But by taking it away, that put them down. And that made them angry. So that's
kind of all we've been through and the way our people have been mistreated, but we've survived. So proud to be a Redskin.
Right. Something along those lines.
I think the logo represents something, maybe more even as well as the name. There's something about being representative on the helmet that maybe there was a bunch of pride historically associated with
right. So
that's interesting, because I heard a couple guys talking, a couple of the professional pundits, and they were talking about the logos. I think they were talking about the Braves logo specifically, and because I think there's a Braves minor league team that changed their name recently. Maybe a AAA team or something like that, because they didn't want to be called the Braves anymore. And they were saying, well, probably the Atlanta Braves will have to change their name. But should they have to change their logo? And the point they were making is, the reason they were asking is because it's not like Chief Wahoo, that, the old Indians logo. It's not a caricature. It's not meant to be, funny or poking fun at anything. It's just a logo that represents a Native American.
I think it's up to those people, and I don't think, like every group in America or the world, you're not going to get consensus. It's like, to some it might be offensive, to some it might fall into the Braves might fall into the category of what Aunt Jemima was to some degree.
Right.
I don't know. It's hard for me to. I can see both sides of it. I could also see why someone who is of that ethnicity or that group culturally could be offended by it. It's not hard to imagine that. I can also see with some of the logos, not all of them, a sense of pride. Hey, look, I am being represented as a part of this as a part of this football team. So I think it's a tricky subject, and I don't think we're going to solve it. So
no, it's going to be difficult. But
off to the Jets running back core.
I just think really quick. I just think that it's ironic that the Native American group is the Guardians Association,
right?
With the Indians changing their name to the Guardians.
Sure.
Anyway, so
and to be look, I'm not advocating changing the name back to the Redskins, but the Commanders, that the team name should be changed to something else. Commanders is terrible.
Right. I said they should have just called them the Skins, because 99% of the time when people talked about them, did you go to the Skins game? You see the Skins, the Giants and the Skins, the Cowboys.
The logo could have been like.
I think they should change it to the
two guys on a basketball court, one with a shirt on.
To the Hogs,
right? Shirts and skins, right? Exactly. Yeah. Right. I mean, they could have went with the foreskins, but then they would have alienated all the dicks in the country.
Yeah.
Only some.
Only some. Right, there you go.
Only those that got cut.
Anyway. On that note.
Yeah, but then they could have had like a coin purse giveaway day.
That's right.
Which is great. But the great thing about it is you take it and you put some quarters in there,
That's
but then
right.
you rub it a little bit and it becomes a wallet.
It becomes a wallet, right? Exactly.
Come October, it's turtleneck weather.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's an open. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So yeah, you're right though. Let's talk about the Jets. What's next? Aaron Rodgers. They got 8 people, 8 players, 8 people. I shouldn't say players because some of them are coaches, but 8 people involved with the Packers are now involved with the Jets. So it is like you said, Pete, several weeks ago, it's Green Bay East, right? It's the Packers
I
East.
said that several months ago.
Sounds like the challenge they have.
Finally, what's the mid kid? The GM of the Packers said it.
Right. But then now they got a Viking too, right? So I mean, they're the NFC North in the AFC East. So but yeah, I think this was a good move, and I'll tell you why, and I'll get Pete's thoughts and Harry's too, but Pete's because he's the resident Jet fan here. I think it's a good move because Breece Hall is coming back from that injury. Now they have a couple other running backs. Obviously, they're going to rely on was it Michael? What's his name? I forget. Anyway, but the other running backs that they have. Anyway, but they were going to dump a load of plays on Breece Hall. Now they can take it easy on him. He can come back in his own time from the injury with Dalvin Cook there, who got how many yards last year? Yeah. So
I also think the Jets plan on running the ball a lot because I think they're very, very, very concerned about the pass protection of Aaron Rodgers at this point in their development.
I think that's true. I think another way to say that is the Jets are looking for as much flexibility as they can have.
And Dalvin Cook's a pretty good receiver.
Yeah. And Dalvin Cook
and so
gives
short
them...
little, I mean, I can't imagine Aaron Rodgers being successful with short little swing passes out of the backfield. Just doesn't seem like, maybe short throws to a tight end. Does that make sense at all? Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the sort of thing that opens it up downfield.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Potentially.
So, yeah, I think they want to be able to.
They could give him 3.5 seconds to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But I think they want to be able to run, and they want to have a couple of backs that can do that, and then a couple of guys that can, fill in, the backup guys.
This I think Dalvin Cook signing just tells me the Jets are all in. They're in right now. They're all in.
Yeah. They're like, we're gonna do this, and look, because I know Aaron has said that I think he wants to play next year too, at least next year, and that's what they've got him for. So, but I mean that could be the window for him, and so it's it's Super Bowl or bust in this year between over the next 2 years for the Jets, and I'm fine with that. It's why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Go for it.
I'd rather watch somebody deteriorate than wait for somebody to develop.
Well, because look, otherwise you're going to have to wait for the Bills to fall out of favor, and Josh Allen's too young for that to really be a logical thing to happen in the next 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Dolphins who are up and coming.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Patriots who
are the Patriots?
Yeah, they're the Patriots, but I don't listen. We know it's more.
Hey,
I don't want to say we know it's more Brady than Belichick, but
I think their problems are solved because they just also signed the Mr. Feed Me. So
he got cheap, but look, he's not going to get a whole lot of carries.
They signed an Ewok.
I think that's a good signing for them. Because they don't have to give him the ball a whole lot. And
apparently, he cut his hair too. I don't know if you saw the
Patriot,
picture.
right?
I don't have. He cut his hair, all those dreads or whatever the hell he had. Elliot.
And then listen, they've had success with reclamation projects, but like I said, you've got the Bills, and you've got maybe we'll see. I think this is the make or break year for Tua. Either he's going to blossom into a really, really well, and I don't mean that physically.
Literally,
I mean as far as his performance, but it could mean it literally too. And
of course, there's a lot of good teams.
So
there's a lot of good teams.
So the Jets are going. We're just going to go for it. We got the big man. We got the 17-time MVP, and we're going to throw a little Dalvin Cook in there. Where's Odell Beckham? He didn't sign yet, right?
Yeah, he's on the Ravens.
Oh, he did. Okay, yeah. So.
I figured they were going to get him too, right?
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore is going to be better. The Raiders are going to be better. Wouldn't it be great if Jimmy G won the AFC Championship game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be
interesting. The team would win the game, but he'd get knocked out with about 3 minutes left.
Right.
Yeah.
And whoever the backup is, they would just have to come in and kneel down a few times, and they'd win. But Jimmy G be out for the playoff,
exactly,
or out for the Super Bowl. I'm happy. Jets, go for it. Why not?
On that note, the other day, obviously a week and a half ago, whatever, the Hall of Fame inductions, 2 Jets went in, Revis and Klecko, right? They went in for the Hall of Fame. Now, here's the thing. Revis was part of the 07 draft class, right? Joe Thomas from the tackle from Cleveland went into Hall of Fame, was inducted this year as well. He was part of the 07 draft class. And 2 years ago, Megatron was inducted in the Hall of Fame. So 3 players right there out of the 07 draft class are in the Hall of Fame already. So
and Joe Klecko is from the 1907 draft.
Oh, well, it's 07, but a different century. Yeah, exactly. So
I saw an interview with him, I guess after the ceremony or at it or whatever, and that's really good to see him. I don't know. He just looked different. He didn't look like Joe Klecko, and he didn't sound like that stereotype that we have of Joe Klecko. It's really great to hear him talk. And
yeah, I mean, I think it's. I'm happy for him. I don't want to say that I don't think he belongs there, but it was a little bit of a shock that he got in to me.
Mm-hmm. On that note, I got something to ask you. And this is kind of a little bit out of left field, but I saw this the other day. In fact, they were talking about it on at the Hall of Fame, the show before the Hall of Fame inductions, with Rondé Barber going into the Hall of Fame this year, right? From the 1999 NFC Championship game, all right, which was the Rams and the Buccaneers. Okay, that was the NFC Championship game in '99. From the Bucs, Rondé Barber's in. Derek Brooks is in, John Lynch is in, Warren Sapp is in, and Tony Dungy's in, right, coach. From the Rams, Isaac Bruce is in, Marshall Faulk is in, Orlando Pace is in, Kurt Warner's in, and Dick Vermeil is in, okay? How do you feel about Torrey Holt? He was a big part of that.
He didn't play as long. That's the one thing with Torrey Holt. How many seasons did he have where he was... But yeah, I think if you would say Torrey Holt, is he in the Hall of Fame? I would say, yeah, he is. I mean, that's my recollection of him.
Right.
But I think the thing with Holt is, did he do it long enough?
Fair enough.
You know, or was he more of a Flipper Anderson? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
think it was more. I think it was more than Flipper Anderson. But
well, I agree, but
yeah.
he had that little spurt where it was incredible.
Right,
But,
right. He had a short window of greatness, but
yeah. But I do think he gets short shrift when with consideration. In fact, I'm surprised there's as many in on that Rams team, because I kind of feel like that Rams team, it was underappreciated at the time.
It definitely was. The greatest show on turf was, I mean, it was appreciated then, but it kind of like just, it was gone, right? They kind of, yeah. Well, I mean,
they were kind of like the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah,
they were there every year, but they didn't win it a ton.
And then it was the Patriots, the rise of the Patriots.
Yeah,
after
Rams
that,
only won one Super Bowl, right?
They were in 2, they won 1. They lost the second one. That was Tom Brady's first Super Bowl he won.
That's right.
Right.
Sam. But all right. So on the Giants note, really quick, apparently the talk is that Jones is improving every week, every day, really. Waller is going to be a beast, is what they're saying. Knock on wood. Thoughts?
Which Jones? Which Jones are we talking about? Daniel Jones?
Deacon.
Deacon Jones is improving every day. That's good. That's good. That's what you want from a 94-year-old. A guy who improves every day.
Right.
Now, how do you say that about practice, though? I mean,
right. Like you had one bad practice last week against
practice.
We're talking about
playoffs
in practice. Sitting here talking
the playoff one is even crazier than the practice one.
I know.
The playoff one is just fucking somebody losing it live in front of us.
Yeah.
Right.
They're both moments of pure honesty.
Yeah. Jim Mora, Jesus Christ, I haven't thought about him
forever. I know. But hey, you know what? Look, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic with that. But there's a lot of good football to be had. We'll talk about all of it. 2 weeks from tonight, we're doing our NFL kickoff show. It's gonna be a good one. Like I said, we got guests coming on. We'll have a former ESPN reporter, Al Gattulo. He'll be on to discuss the whole NFL. We'll talk about it. Yeah, and some other surprises as well. So it's gonna be fun. I mean, we'll save the rest of it. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about right now because we're in the middle of preseason, right? It's preseason. That's what it is, right? So
yeah,
what do you want to do?
So
let's wait for the 2 weeks. It's right before the opening, and that'll be we got our show next week. But in that respect, on that note, though, I think we have an Are They For Real tonight? Do we?
Well, we do have an Are They For Real? We sort of, as usual, covered it in some detail.
I say we just play the theme music and then get the fuck out.
And I get it. So let's do that. There we go.
But you know what?
What is real? What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell,
I think we might need to edit this now.
Real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real.
For real, for real, for real. Yeah.
We're just start the show with this.
For real? For real?
Are they for real?
They're real and they're spectacular.
What is real?
All right. So there you go. I just played it. You said play the theme song. All right.
Now, see that at least the whole thing played.
All right.
The first one. All right. So my Are They For Real? I'm going to throw in a bonus here, but the Are They For Real I had meticulously prepared previously prior to the show was basically who's more for real, Scherzer or Verlander over the rest of the course of the season?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know.
Who's going to be better? Looks like Scherzer is he's obviously leading, but who's going to have a better record post Mets?
Record?
The season's all
Verlander.
Yeah. In other words, who's going to pitch better after they left the Mets through the end of the season?
I think it's going to be closer than you think.
I think it is too.
I think that Texas team is going to be a tough team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I do.
I think Verlander's is the safe choice, but you could have a situation where Verlander and Scherzer are in the top 5 in ERA and innings pitched in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The question really is: Verlander the ace on that staff? I don't think he is. So imagine Verlander going against a second. That's even more dangerous.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. That's not a bad position for him to be in.
No.
Houston
got a lot better.
Houston
got a lot better.
Houston got a lot better. I think it's Verlander, which is why I said the Mets should have kept him. If they let's put it this way, if they were for real in what they said to Scherzer about, they're not going to be competitive next year, then no, you don't keep Verlander. But if it was a lie, which I think it was, or just a ploy to get him to waive his no trade clause, I think it was a lie. You keep Verlander. You need somebody. He's going to be another year, but it's Justin Verlander.
Done.
A 40-year-old Justin Verlander is better than a 26-year-old Tyler McGill. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Listen, Verlander was having a little bit of a renaissance right before the trade deadline. He'd been pitching well for several good games, several good games, in whatever way I want to say that. So, I'm gonna. Again, we'll have to figure out how do we decide. Do we go with wins? Maybe we'll come up with our own algorithm of how to figure out who had a better year. But I'm going to give a slight edge to Verlander.
Yeah,
I do too.
I will go out on a limb. I will go out on a limb and say they both have multiple wins in the postseason.
Yeah, I think they'll both be really good for the rest of the season. I'll give the edge to Verlander. All right, so we all agree.
All
right. So the bonus now. I'm sure you guys have been watching a lot of the Women's World Cup, especially since the USA got ousted a week and a half ago or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, the finals are set, and it's Spain against England. Spain, if you want to, you may not want to watch soccer in general, and you may be women's soccer.
I mean, Spain versus Sweden was not bad viewing.
No, it was pretty good.
For 87 minutes or so, it was everything that people say, oh man, it was boring, but then 3 goals pop up in the space of about 4.5 minutes.
It's as good as a communist sport can be.
And it was some of the most exciting soccer that was on that day. So,
on at that time.
Time.
Yeah. No, it really was.
It was up against the pickleball semifinal.
I will say this as an aside. Messi is making soccer really exciting.
I want to get to that in a second, but because I flipped on, it was the replay of Spain and Sweden, and I knew that Spain had won 2-1.
Is there another replay coming up?
I'm like, it's minute 79 and it's 0-0. When are they going to score? And then I thought, well, was it 2-1 in penalty kicks? But they usually listed 0-0.
They were procrastinating.
And then boom, a goal, and then the equalizer, and then the go-ahead. So good for Spain. First World Cup final taking on England. And also, I just want to say, this also struck me. Because, Sweden has lost in the semis like 4 or 5 times or something. They're cursed to lose in the semifinals. If it was England against Sweden, I'm just thinking, how many blonde ponytails would be on the field at any time with those two teams playing? It would be the least representative World Cup final as far as representative of a world sport, because it would just be overwhelmingly Caucasian blondes with ponytails. Not that that's a terrible thing, but
I don't know. I think England. I think it would definitely on weird. The Swedish side. I think England has more diversity on their team than you would.
A little bit more, but they imagine. I think they have. I counted them up the other day. I think they have 4 or 5 as well. So
that's a lot of blonde.
Everybody's pulling for Spain. Good luck to them. And listen, the U.S. is out, and of course whatever the right is gleeful about it, and they're woke and blah blah blah. Listen, they were great, and they were the best team and ever, and blah blah blah. I think they're going to fire their coach because he didn't do a good job. Maybe they got, I don't know, maybe they got a little complacent, or maybe the rest of the world
got old.
Caught up.
They got old.
They're a little bit old, yeah. So
and they can't keep it up. Look after the.
I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that they didn't win their 3rd straight World Cup. I don't think that's a terrible thing. Although I will say, with respect to the money issue, which was one of the big things from around the time of the last World Cup and the World Championships, was the women are saying we should get paid as much as the men. Regular league, I don't know about that because it's not as much of a draw and that sort of thing. But when it comes to like the World Cup team, shouldn't the women's team make at least 2 or 3 times as much as the men, given the success that they've had
you would
and
think
the lack
that,
of success that the men's team has?
I thought the same thing, and then I looked at an actual stat the other day of the revenue, and the women pull in far less, and they're being
they always
subsidized
do. They always
by
do.
the men.
But when you're talking about a national team, this is not, this
that's
is
what I'm
not
talking
a
about.
team.
Yeah.
Right. But my point is, when you're talking about the professional leagues, because there is a professional women's league. Yes, these are teams that are owned by corporations or families.
I'm talking specifically about the World Cup.
Right, but that's our national team, so we shouldn't be worrying about what revenue they bring in. They should be rewarded for their performance. That's our country's team, not X corporation's team. So I think they should get paid based on performance, in which case they should get a lot more than the men.
Golfers. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know when the final's on, tomorrow or the next day or whatever, but England's getting beat up. There's all these little things online. Who do you vote for? Or, play these little mini games. Pick Spain or England. Spain's got like 17 times more people playing for them than England. Nobody likes England now.
No,
I do.
Yeah.
England's not bad.
I mean, in the World Cup final.
I know what you meant. I didn't, but
so anyway,
so
part 2 in a roundabout way is Spain for real. Will they win? They win?
Yeah.
No, but they're for real.
All right. I think they're going to win.
I think they're going to win. I'm not going to be shocked if England wins, but I think they're going to win. I think Spain is going to win. I do. So
it's a great story.
It's a good story. So on the Messi front, whatchamacallit, the
9 goals and like 5 or 6 assists.
Did you see that last goal he had? I still can't figure out how he did it. I mean, it's geometry, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely Pele-esque.
Is he playing? Is it just the competition is not as good as it was?
That's what it is. Really.
Let me read you what I wrote down here.
Because he looks like the best soccer player, which he may very well
Messi
be.
And the
but I mean, it's unbelievable. He looks like Gretzky playing soccer.
He's so much better than everybody else, and he's 150 years old. So what does that say about the talent level of the U.S. in general? And it's not like we don't have any foreign players in our league.
No,
we have a history.
The league is mostly international players,
right? But we have a history.
Always has been.
Yeah,
aging superstars coming over, right? Beckham, who was the part
owner
of Miami, and Pele and Beckenbauer and Wayne Rooney and
even what's his name when he came over was who's the guy who married the Spice Girl?
Beckham, yeah.
Beckham. Yeah, so
he was one of the first. Yeah. He's part owner of the Miami team now.
Yeah.
But exactly. Messi, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he just retired last year. I mean, these are greats out there. But Messi, like, none of them were. Zlatan was really good, at least early when he first started playing in the U.S. And of course, Pele and Beckenbauer and that's a whole different era. But Messi's just like, I mean, it's hard not to make the argument, or it's hard to make the argument that he's not the best player in the world, but he's looking so much better than any other aging European superstar who came over to play in the U.S.
How old is Messi? How old is Messi? 37? 36?
Yeah, something like that.
I know somebody whose son plays. Their son is 14, 15, plays soccer. And wanted to go see the Miami team, and Messi was coming up to play the Red Bulls in New Jersey, and try to get tickets, and they were like $300 a piece because Messi's coming up.
Oh, since they announced he's signing, the ticket prices have gone up like 1,200%
for any team that's playing Miami. Right.
Right. No, Miami playing other.
Yeah. Let me just sum up the whatever it is, the MLS or whatever this league is in the US. They have a team named after a fucking soft drink, which is basically canned cocaine. So enough said.
Yeah, Red Bulls, the New Jersey, the New Jersey Red Bulls, yeah, and they play in Harrison, New Jersey.
Yeah, I know that.
And yeah, so, but
it tells you everything you need.
You need to know, right? So, yeah, it's needless to say, he didn't get to go to the game. So
the competition is a little different than the Tottenham Spurs.
Just a little different, yes.
Just a little bit.
Anyway, all right.
But yeah, I mean, he's just tearing it up, and
yeah.
Jesus. I mean, I expected him to come and be good, but not this good. And Miami's terrible too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
except for Messi,
won every game he's played. Maybe they had a draw in one game. They've won every game. Not like 1-2. They're winning like 4-1, 4-0, 3-1.
That's good.
You know, they're not eking out a 1-0 victory.
I heard he over the weekend he's going to identify as a British woman and play in the finals.
And play in the finals. So how you can do that, right? Anyway, all right.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
We got anything else?
Jeff Jackson, the Connor McDavid's agent, got hired by the Oilers as the CEO.
I saw that.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
So I guess
how is that legal?
Gets a new agent.
I'm kind of like going, okay, that's a little weird, don't you think?
Well,
it's happened before. There has been precedence, especially in hockey, with this before.
Yeah, but Jackson did play in the NHL.
Yeah, but still, yeah, okay,
right. But I don't think, as far as I could find out, he doesn't have any other team management experience or anything. It's just like, who was the guy the Mets hired?
They just want to make sure that they can re-sign him. That's why he's hired.
Who was the agent that the Mets hired?
Brody Van Wagenen.
Yeah, Van Wagenen, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but whatever. I guess he
sounds like a Seinfeld character.
Look, the Oilers want to make sure that Connor McDavid stays there until he either retires or dies.
It's like, all right, we've been having ongoing talks with Conor McGregor's agent, so we decided to hire him and make him GM, which gives us maybe a pretty good chance of our own GM hiring his own client. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, Well, he's not. He's someone else taking over his.
Let me just say this.
That's going to make a difference. Right. He's going to make an offer, and McDavid's agent's going to go, "No, I don't think so."
If 2 years ago, if the Mets hired Kyrie Irving's agent as a GM, the sports world would be up in fucking arms. But
did you just say the Nets or the Mets?
Or the Mets? Yeah. But my point being is that
if anyone hired Kyrie Irving to the front office,
get away with this. Because it's hockey and it's Edmonton, which, don't get me wrong, has an incredible history. And I would like nothing more than an Edmonton Oilers Toronto Maple Leafs finals, Right. But my point being to all this, if this was, the Lakers hired LeBron James's agent as their player, as their GM, heads would explode. Mm-hmm. But nobody seems to give a shit in hockey. It's just like, there's not enough of them. So just whatever.
But here's the
thing. It was either that or Zamboni driver.
Yeah. But here's the thing about Jackson.
Lou Lamoriello can't be the GM of every team. So.
Here's the thing about Jackson and McDavid. McDavid's got...
Eventually he might be, but...
He's got 3 MVPs, I think, and he's won 3 scoring titles, right?
Connor
McDavid, yeah.
You said
but
Jackson
the Oilers
McDavid.
Haven't sniffed the cup.
Jackson McDavid, right.
Right?
Yeah.
No, Jackson and... Sorry, I said Jackson and McDavid, sorry.
Jackson and McDavid.
But the Oilers haven't sniffed the cup.
No, he's
so if Jeff Jackson comes
he's
in,
he's the Mike Trout of hockey.
Yeah, but if Jeff Jackson comes in and actually makes some good moves and gets them at least to the final, or wins one, he's going to be a fucking hero, and everybody's going to go. They're going to go to every best player on every team. The team's going to go to their agent and go, "Hey, did you ever play? You want to be CEO?" So, I don't know.
Yeah, that would work.
Always win something.
Exactly.
Connor McDavid played that.
Yeah, I know. It's
at one point somebody said Conor McGregor too. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like he'll go down. After Glenn Sather, he'll be the biggest hero. And Sather's reign ended weird because he wouldn't re-sign. He let Gretzky go, and then eventually let Messier goes. So, I mean,
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, listen, Conor McGregor could get hired. I mean, there's still fights in hockey.
Exactly. That would make sense.
He could be a fighting
right?
coach.
It almost makes sense. Right.
Be a fighting coach.
And then every team winds up getting a fighting coach. Like that's part of their practice.
Yeah, he'd sit in the penalty box,
Yeah.
and then after the fight, the guy gets sent to the penalty box, and he
Hey,
tells
this is
him
what
he
you did right. This is what you did wrong. Right.
Just hand him his whiskey.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, and then gives him a couple shots of old number 98 or whatever.
Old number 98.
Old Irish rot gut.
Exactly.
God, Edmonton. The strange place. Go
anyway, that's one other thing I was going to talk about, but it's just going to bring the show down.
All right. Yeah.
That's
So
not
I'm
it.
not going to do it.
I did on a good note.
No.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not as bad as the Larry Nasser thing, but
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Good.
still would be
Alright.
pretty depressing.
Good.
All right, let's do it.
I'll save it for the fun show.
Save it for the fun show. There you go. Next week. All right.
Oh, hopefully there's a little bit of death, racism, and
Anyway, all right. On that,
pedophilia, yeah.
yeah.
Stabbing, pedophilia, and prison.
and prison. There you go. All right. On that note, we'll wrap the show up for today. I want to thank everybody for watching.
Three
For those
pillars
you-
of pizza sports stories.
Exactly. Just listening to the audio podcast. Thank you for listening.
The three pillars of the Baltimore Ravens.
Exactly. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And some additions are coming to that website as well. So keep an eye out for that as well. And remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our brand new host, Spreaker. There's an app. You can download it. You can watch it online, as well as all of the staples, not staples, but as well as the usuals.
Brought to you by Staples.
There you go.
The now defunct envelope store.
There you go. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and some brand new platforms as well. Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. There's a few others that are coming online too. So all this information will be on the website, posted on the Facebook page. Just if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Watch a lot of sports. Get ready for the fun show next week and the NFL kickoff show 2 weeks from tonight. And we will talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Harry's cursing silently.
I know he is.
I just said it's not fun.
It's not.
It's more fun. Well,
I
was hoping I would get fired with all the rest of the ESPN hosts.
There you go. Not so much.
all right. Yeah,
All right.
we'll make it fun.
All right.
Bye, everybody.